At St. Luke's Health System, each patient is at the center of everything we do. Whether you're on the front lines of patient care or support the day-to-day operations of our organization, you make a career out of caring. Your skill and expertise help our patients heal physically, but that's just the beginning. You care. You are courageous. You are compassionate. You are kind. And it makes a difference every day in our facilities, in our communities, and in countless lives. You are St. Luke's.
A little lady comes in for an x-ray and of her wrist. She had injured her wrist trying to weed eat. She is 93 years old. She said, "Oh, honey," she said, "I was trying to weed eat. And if it's just so heavy or just the motion, I don't know what hurt her wrist." So of course, I give her the lead and I put her wrist up there and I do her x-rays. And I take the first x-ray and I'm like, oh my goodness, this poor thing, her wrists are horrible. And then she proceeds to ask me, she goes, "Honey," she goes, "do you know anybody that would want to make a little extra money?" She goes, "I've got some leaves that need to be raked." And I said, "Well, you know what?" I said, "I just happen to have a couple teenage boys at home that would love nothing more than to come help you," which of course they didn't. So before work, the morning before, I would load up my weed eater and my push mower and put it in the back of my truck, drive to work, go to work, and then after work, I would drive across the street and go to her house, unload, go to the back, start weed eating and push mowing, and she would come out and she would stand there and watch the whole time. She was the cutest little thing ever. So she would come to the front door and she would be like, "Oh, come in, come in." And I'm like, "Honey, I am covered in grass." So I usually would stay on the front porch and talk to her and let her know. And so then she would coax me in finally, and I would stand right there at the doorway. And the look on her face, she was just so happy to have somebody to talk to, and that I had done that for her, that I'd taken my time away from my family and my duties here to take 10 or 15 minutes to help her. I would like to think that it's the community and the way that our environment is in our hospital that kind of portrays that. I don't look to get anything out of it. I would want somebody to help me if I'm an elderly person that can't do something. So I'm at an age and a time in my life where I could help people. And so I do.
So Emily's on our media team, and what our team does is anytime there is a story, we work with both the reporter and the physician, and then most of the time we also have a patient element to the story. So we had a young man who was here at the hospital awaiting and then receiving a heart transplant. And in addition to needing a new heart, he was getting ready to celebrate his first wedding anniversary. His wife was pregnant and due to deliver their first baby in just a couple weeks. And the morning of the interview, when Emily goes to connect with the patient beforehand, she learns from, I believe, one of the nurses that he's feeling really insecure about how he looks. He's been in the hospital, he was very sick, he went through the whole transplant process, he's scruffy and unshaven, he doesn't have a razor. And what I love is Emily, without even thinking about it, got in her car, went to the store, bought an electric razor, and brought it back for this patient so that he could be cleaned up and could feel good and confident about what he was doing. And when somebody stops and does something as simple as that may be, just a simple act of kindness that says, "I see you, I care about you, I'm doing something to make your world slightly better," that, at the end of the day, that really was the ultimate gift.
In April, my father had a heart attack, and 2 weeks later, my father-in-law passed away very unexpectedly. And 1 week to the day after that, my mother-in-law was diagnosed with bilateral lung cancer for the second time. It was overwhelming, it was exhausting. We were trying to grieve during all of it, and it was really hard to grieve when things kept hitting us and we had so much to take care of. my first day back in the clinic, I was met with many employees with open arms and just there to support me. And one day I was just extremely tired and I think a little overly emotional over the entire process. And I just made the comment that if I had to eat fast food one more time, I thought I wasn't gonna make it. One of the employees, Kelly, said, "I'm gonna make you food." And I said, no, it's okay. We're gonna get through this, we'll be fine. And she told me at that time that they had done a collection and she bought the food and put together there were actually 12 freezer meals. I couldn't believe that anybody would do that. I did not tell my husband about it. So when I got home, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna need a little help getting some things out of the car." And my entire trunk was full and my back seat. And he was so overcome with emotion. These were actual meals that we could eat after working 10 hours, and driving home. We could come home, pop it in the oven, and have a nice home-cooked meal. And it was amazing. It made our lives so much easier in a time that was really difficult. And I just always think that if I'm in a hospital or I'm a patient in an office, those are the people I want taking care of me.
Tyrell, when he was 13 years old, he got hit by the truck and he was dragged on the railroad, actually. And he was in the ICU for 3 months. He couldn't walk, he couldn't talk. He had a lot of conflict on his recovery. And that's how he connects with the people. The patient was in our NSICU units, and his friend was a priest at the church. He came to visit him, and he told him the story about how Tyrell has been talking to him and how he has been making him feel better and his healing process faster. The priest goes back to his church and start talking about Tyrell. And one of the Fox News people was in that church and he heard the story. So I get a call from Fox News. It's like, "Who is this Tyrell Moore?" And I'm like, okay, what did he do? And it was amazing that, how the word got out there. And he told everybody after that, and he still calls himself Angel. I'm your angel here. It's just amazing that how he connects with the people. He talked to them, he asked them to pray, and he prays with them. He calmed them down. He just kind of make the stay easy here and the healing process faster. We have a lot of angels in St. Louis health system that do that, and that's amazing.
"Mom, I can't wait till I graduate." And she's like, "I can't wait to see you get your diploma." And it's like, I'd always talk to her about my plans. And, I'd talk about what I'm gonna wear with her and, the shoes I'm gonna wear and, how I'm gonna do my makeup and, all the little things. My mom's not gonna see me graduate. We kind of all knew it. She was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. I think 2 years later, it came back as stage 4. And then my dad's like, stage 4 is last stage. I was in school and I got a text from my dad and they're like, "They moved Mom." She was very disoriented. She barely recognized us kids. And when I went to visit her, it took her a couple minutes. She thought I was a nurse. And that shattered my heart. I kind of knew that it was coming to an end. But then I got a text from my teacher. And she was like, "Would you like us to bring a graduation ceremony to the hospice house for your mom?" And they brought it here, and it was so much more than I expected. I never expected the balloons. I never expected the cake. The entire hospice house was there, and it's like, you guys went all out for this, and it's just amazed me the extent that they go to be there for people that they just met. Like they welcomed us with open arms, and they did all that just to help my mom and to bring me and my family peace. And I walked in here thinking, this is it. My mom's not gonna see me graduate. But just knowing that she saw it, and I know she saw it because she looked at me and she looked at my principal, and I knew that she heard everything. can't tell you how happy I was, and I could see it in my dad's face how happy he was, and knowing that she could see something that I thought she would never be able to see.
My dad had gotten pretty sick the last 5 years, and during that process, I had gotten to look at some of the nurses, see how they interact, watch them with my dad, and I had thought that was just such a great field to be in. We were so used to him coming in and out of the hospital, I guess we didn't know the severity of what was going on. So he'd come back in the hospital, we were in the waiting room, and the chaplain came running out and said, they just called a code blue on your father. And he said, I think you need to come back. So when we went back into the waiting room, there was a nurse standing there, and she said, it's pretty bad. It's really bad this time. She walked me in the back, and I got to see them coding my father. And it made such an impact on me because I saw his face. I saw his eyes. And once I told him, it's okay to go, you don't have to fight this anymore, I saw such relief in his eyes. Once they called it, I looked up in the corner, and I saw two of the nurses with tears coming down their eyes. And I was like, unbelievable. They loved this man. They knew him. They took care of him. And I will never forget that. There was nothing in this world that I could be doing to make such an impact on people as what those nurses had to my father and my family and my mother. I said, I will be a St. Luke's nurse, Dad. I will get there. So we kind of joked that he's up in heaven going, she did it, she's a St. Luke's nurse.
You might never know all the lives you're touching through your kindness. Every smile, every gesture, every kind word, every opportunity to go the extra mile, it all makes a difference. And that's what we do every day, make a difference in the lives of our patients. It's why we're here. And now, we're glad you're here. We welcome you to St. Luke's, where every day we celebrate our culture of kindness.